as people. So this is our March 2024 EAC meeting for the city of Reading. Thank you all for joining us today. We do have a quorum currently and people are joining in. Thanks all for being here. So I guess first is the public comment. Shelley, are there members of the public here today to comment or anything that you received?
There are no comments today, but I did want to let you all know we have a new city planner who is joining us today. So Simon, I don't know if you want to take a few minutes and introduce yourself to everyone.
Sure. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi, Simon.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Simon Wangolo. I'm the city planner who joined the city in February this year. This would be my second. I'm heading to my third month being here. And I want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to join this forum.
Thank you for being here today. It's nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, Tiana. I see you're joining us. Hello.
Hello. I will have my video off for me.
Okay. I guess next up is the approval of the minutes from our February call.
I have a couple of corrections.
Okay, great.
Well,
Minor stuff, Shelley.
okay. Motion goes on the table. What about the procedural point? Motion goes on the floor first, and then you get comments and changes. So
Right.
move to approve the minutes as filed.
Right. Okay. Hold on.
Second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Well, no, before we vote, we discuss the
That's right. I'm
comments.
sorry. Yep. I'm
Correct,
good.
yeah.
Yep.
How many?
I was trying to help Sarah and I was trying to rush it along, so so I forgot. But anyway, yeah. So you always get the motion first, and people don't like that because they think you're pushing to vote on it.
Then
But
you call, right, the
That's when
motion,
you
you
have
call the
discussion.
question.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
discussion, what were your corrections, Bill? Thank you,
So,
Kathy.
Shelley, these are minor things, but the lunch and learn with the Hispanic Center at Centro Hispano, they have offered that in our initial meeting. I've contacted them, but I haven't heard anything back. So that it's, you know, it's an idea that we're pursuing. It's
Can you
not
tell
happening.
me where that is in the minutes, please, Bill?
What's that? Oh, it's under the communications section near one of the latter things. I'm here. I can bring it up. And it's just, you know, it's for the record, it's stated more emphatically than it actually is. Somebody's going to go, well, they're saying they're doing all this stuff. They're not doing anything.
I found it.
You found it. And then earlier under communications, the NREL stuff. Again, this is really minor, but it's five. What Bethany's been saying is five different row houses specifically, and that's specifically what they're going to be looking at, not different types of properties at this point. I think her plan is to start there and then maybe expand to other kinds of properties. So
I thought
mainly I just wanted to show you that I read the minutes, Shelley.
I thought it was both though, Bill, because I live in a semi-detached. It's not a row house.
Well, Bethany's been saying row home, so okay.
I mean, I don't know. I don't, whatever.
Well, I know there's an end of row. Shelley, are you an end of row or are you in a row?
I'm in the middle of a row.
Yeah, so I don't know what the five are. The other two. Well, I mean, it's a minor thing. It can stay the way it is. Bethany's away right now, so we could check later. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I buy it. You definitely read the minutes.
It's that architect in your head, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. Do you have any other changes? Okay. So we have a first and second for the motion. Now is everybody in favor of the approval of the minutes with those changes that Bill noted? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Okay, thank you. The motion carries. Do you know if Bethany's joining us today, Shelley?
She's away.
She's
Okay.
at a conference.
Oh, okay, cool. So do we have any notes on upcoming meetings and events? I guess, Ryan Bradley, is he at that conference too? Do we know if he'll be here today?
Unsure.
Okay.
I just see Scott here. Do you have anything?
Yeah, that's actually why Tiana's here also. We're trying to get together a rain barrel workshop. This is something that we worked on last year. It just kind of lost a lot of traction. One, because I broke my finger. It was when it was actually a class project for the master watershed stewards. But I don't know where the other master watershed stewards that were involved in the project, they haven't really responded to any emails. But I know it kind of popped back up in another email, I believe, from Natalie, who was the outgoing master watershed steward coordinator for Berks and Schuylkill counties. So I know Tiana and we were looking at trying to find some dates and actually asking for some help from the EAC. I know some of you were interested in it previously. And the place we're looking at is actually 3rd and Walnut. Yeah, there's a little like building there that we can put 2 at. I believe from the emails I got from Aaron that we actually do have the kits and the barrels. So it's just actually finding a time to actually make it happen.
Great.
Yeah, so we actually did some rain barrel workshops, I want to say 10 years ago. We did them in conjunction with the Berks County Conservation District. They came, they had a PowerPoint presentation, and then we followed that with an actual workshop. They had some barrels that they brought, and we were putting some barrels together, and those several workshops were very well attended. But several of us on the meeting here, Scott, participated in those, and I'm sure we'd be more than willing to, volunteer some time to help with another workshop. Whatever you need, just let us know.
Yes, and David, it was a nice broad scope because David also included a summary of our then new rain barrel ordinance. So explain the ordinance, how ordinances work, that it was to make clear that it was permitted everywhere in Reading and not to try and prescribe things, but would lay out some basic standards to make sure it was safe for your neighbors. So and they were very good. And I'd be happy to help, I'm sure.
So I want to say something about rain barrels. They're good if you have a place to discharge. Otherwise, they just create stagnant water. So like, it would be good to have an educational piece as to how to discharge the rainwater and reuse it. So it's like, discharge, like storage and reuse.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many of the rain barrels just end up being these stagnant pools of water.
Yeah, we did include information like that in our,
Okay.
And would make sure to do that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have some dates in mind that you're thinking, Tiana and Scott, or like a time of year?
Not particularly. We were waiting to see what you all had to say. I think we talked about maybe April, May. It just depends on what the availability is. We weren't sure if there were still rain barrels available and all that good stuff. Definitely when it's nicer weather for sure.
Tiana, it looks like you're hiking in a tropical jungle somewhere.
I am not. I am doing laundry. So I have the nice background. But yeah. So maybe like in May. I know everybody's probably super busy, so probably the further out, maybe the better to schedule.
Yeah, May's ideal because people are setting up their gardens and I think it's a real good time. People are real enthusiastic about learning how to do improvements to their gardening and certainly after last May having 0.1 inches of rain the whole month, a lot of people will be interested in how can you make the water last longer?
For sure.
So, and April is pretty booked because of Earth Day for everybody. So
Mhm.
I would think May would be good.
Okay.
Yeah, and certainly reach out to the Conservation District. They always have barrels available to donate. So you know, they donated the last time around for the city, years ago when we did this. I'm sure they'd be more than willing to, supply some additional barrels again.
So what is this workshop doing? Like painting the barrels or actually outfitting the barrels with attachments and so forth, or what is being done?
So what we actually have kits with the master watershed stewards. And originally it was, I don't think we really talked about painting them, but I guess that is actually an option. I know that we've got the kits and how to retrofit the barrels. The barrels,
Okay.
I believe the barrels were cleaned at one point, but we're kind of going back and forth, so we may need to clean them as well. But we actually do have some barrels that are slated through the master watershed stewards.
And could someone bring their own barrel that they might want to put in at their house? Like I know someone, she started a whole business using old wine barrels for stormwater because she had an old house and she wanted it to match the house. So could someone bring their own barrel to outfit it?
I wouldn't see a problem with it. The only difference would be is I think the way the kits are designed, and I haven't looked at the kits in a long time. I haven't been able to get to that point yet. The kits were designed for plastic barrels, so it's going to be a different type of fitting, I'm sure, for a wooden barrel.
Oh,
Definitely have a thicker barrel with the wood.
right. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's something we can definitely look into, but I haven't been able to get to the ag center yet.
Yeah, I have 3 rain barrels at the Albright Community Garden and regularly have to get new parts for them. And most of the standard parts are assuming you've got some sort of a plastic system that you're putting together. I'm sure there are specialty ones, but most common are the plastic, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Great, that sounds great. I think, yeah, the EAC is in full support. However, we can help whoever's available on the day that you choose that is best. We will definitely come and support and participate and help advertise whatever you need assistance wise from us. So if you want to talk, if you want to chat with us about a date and make sure we're free, we're open to that as well. But yeah, I think all in all, we're happy to support this and are excited that you're hosting it.
How would we advertise?
I guess I was thinking through the communications committee, we could help if you have a flyer or something like that. Sharing amongst our networks, any type of event you have on social media. I was thinking that Goggleworks would host it, but if you wanted it to be on the Public Works page, we can ask Bethany to do that as well. Whatever makes sense, Tiana.
We have a whole marketing team, so I think they
Yeah.
will make the flyer and then we'll send it along.
Fabulous.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
one. And I'm not sure who runs the Public Works page, if it is Bethany or not, but we'll make sure it's on there.
I'm not sure either.
Shelley
Okay.
does.
I know I've talked to Bethany about it because I was at the watershed conference with her on Saturday. So
Okay.
Okay, good. For the date though, Scott and I talked about like day preferences. Is there a preference for like a Friday evening versus a Saturday? I know Saturdays are precious. So I think we talked about doing like a Friday evening instead.
Yeah, that works.
Does that sound good? Okay.
Yeah, I love
That's
that. I'm
good.
definitely more available, yeah.
Okay, good.
Great, okay.
All right, then I will find a date and send it along. I'll have to
Thank
get
you.
to like my laptop and look at my calendar and stuff then.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
please do.
Thank
so
you
much.
guys.
Good project.
Wonderful. All right, I look forward to that.
thank you.
Is there anything else, Scott? Any other updates that you have as a staff member?
Not really at this time. Nothing else really is making movement. We actually survived Saturday with all that rain. I didn't get a lot of complaints on a lot of things, so
Good.
yeah, we've been working on more sanitary projects. We did repair two catch basins this past week. In bad spots. I mean, it's basically Ole and Culvert Street, very small street, and the vehicles just constantly ran over the sea stones, broke them in half, and they were pretty damaged. So we tried something new. Even from the time that my crew stripped the forms for the concrete, I could tell that somebody had already run over them because I saw a tire track. So it's a tight intersection. People park everywhere, and it's just two small streets, and yeah. So it handled it so far. And that was with green concrete.
Good, okay, that's good to hear. Thanks for letting us know your updates, and I'm happy. Yeah, nothing was too crazy. That rain was intense, yeah. I guess in regard to other events upcoming, the big thing. Sorry about my internet. I feel like I keep freezing. Thank you, Tiana. So is there a tree that's going to be planted? Do you know about that, Scott? Last meeting, Bethany said that was in the works, but it wasn't confirmed.
I don't think I haven't been involved in it, so I'm not really sure. I don't remember her saying anything about it, any updates on it. I know
Okay.
she has some in store, but I'm not sure if there's anything new on them.
Okay. And then is there a Great American Cleanup flyer that we have as a PDF, Shelley? I looked at my email, but I didn't see it.
Nothing that I received, no.
Okay. But we know the times for that, right? And do we know the location?
Yes.
Okay.
I think everybody got that. My recollection is it was like 9 to 12 for the Great American Cleanup. And then City Park afterwards. I may not be right on the time. I'm not good at details.
I guess we left it off at the EAC is going to participate, but we didn't
Yes.
sign up because the link wasn't available, right? Is the link available now?
I've not gone looking for it, so I don't know.
Okay.
And I've not
All right.
heard anything since the last meeting.
Okay, thank you. Just making sure we're all caught up. So what I'm going to do is I'll send an email, probably tomorrow, honestly, to all of you and ask when you're available, what you'd like to participate in, and just kind of have an internal sign up sheet. And then if we need to register on the links or whatever we need to do for Bethany and why am I blank? Ryan. I just totally forgot the name. Whatever we need to do for Bethany and Ryan, we can do paperwork.
Yeah. If we get ourselves organized first, then we can just,
Right.
and if we've got, more than 2 people, we can sign up as a group when we do sign up.
So you're talking about for the Great American Cleanup or
For the
Earth-
cleanup before the Earth Day event that follows in
Okay.
City
Yeah, I'm
Park.
gonna send an email asking for both, Stephen. So if number one.
I thought
can
we
you
just kind of showed. I thought we just kind of showed up. My memory last year.
Last year we did. I don't think there were a lot of moving parts, and we had interns that were coming, and we didn't think we didn't have enough people available to both do the cleanup and then get ready for our table. And we had an intern that was supposed to be doing videos and others that were manning
right.
tables. And so it was, and Stephen and I and Jim, I think, were the main people that had much time. And anyway, the morning wasn't good for anybody. And so we just did the event and not the cleanup, although I don't know, maybe Bill did the cleanups. Somebody might have, but it wasn't many of us this year. Other years we have.
Well, let's hope it's not so windy as it was last
Oh
year.
my gosh. Oh,
That was
Yeah.
a mess.
Hopefully. Okay, so
Yeah,
I'll
that
send
was
an
crazy.
email either tonight or tomorrow for sure, asking you your availability. Please respond to me and then I'll continue discussing via email.
great.
The wind was jealous because there's no wind today. Like, what the hell, Earth Day? What about Wind Day?
Honestly, that was insane. I guess next up is signage, moving into old business. I saw that email come through. Sorry, Scott, go ahead.
I've got something else I forgot to mention. There's also a cleanup this Saturday at 6th and Penn. Eddie Moran and Manny Guzman are hosting a cleanup. And that's this Saturday, 9 o'clock? 9 to 12. 9 to 12.
Yeah, I did sign up for that. I think I'm going unless something comes up, but
I should have some equipment there too. I think we're taking 2 of our vac trucks.
Okay, thanks,
this is
Scott.
gonna be Cherry,
What-
Penn and Court. Is that where you, something like that? Yeah, so it's right central there.
Yeah.
Is there some event that this is, or they're just hosting it just for the city?
They're
There's
doing
an
a whole
election
event,
coming up.
but I don't know all the details. I know we're taking down 2 trucks to help clean out catch basins that they find as they're doing a cleanup. I didn't see a flyer or anything for it. Maybe
If
Shelley.
all of you don't follow the City of Reading on Facebook, I recommend you start doing so. That's where you'll see all of these events come across.
But I think you sent in, somebody sent me one.
Is it on Instagram as well?
Oh, I know, it was,
I don't know, Anne, if they are keeping up Instagram. I know that they are doing Facebook.
I don't know, but I did get one. I forget who sent it to me.
Thanks, Shelley. That's a good reminder. So I have them on Facebook, but I just put City of Reading as a favorite. So I'll make sure I see their posts.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Because I think I have Public Works as a favorite. Okay, so follow and favorite the pages.
Thank you, because I try to do as little as possible on Facebook and I don't know how to use it. Cause
Yeah, if you go to their page and you click on like following, it'll say like, what do you want this default, unfollow, or favorite? So
okay.
change your setting for the algorithm.
There's
Okay,
I don't
actually,
even remember my password to get into Facebook. It's just, that's step 1.
Yeah, honestly. What did you say, Steven?
I think it's funny because my kids think I'm old as hell for using Facebook, because they all
Yeah.
use Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok, which I may be going away. But yeah, what I was saying is there's even a QR code on there for registration of that. So
Oh, for the 30th?
yeah,
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful.
it says Downtown Reading Community Cleanup.
Okay.
Yeah, and on their Instagram page right now, and there's a flyer on their Instagram page. It was their most recent post, so I guess that's kept up as well.
Oh,
City of Reading.
good. Yeah, usually they'll link the 2. So maybe I won't have to remember my Facebook password.
There's a thing called Reset. They will actually send you an email where you can reset your password. Just letting you know.
Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, next signage. Kathy, do you want to give us an
Okay,
update?
so I think Shelley sent it out, or did I send it to everybody? I may have sent it to everybody. You should have all gotten from somebody Dean's first drafts of all the other signs. So we will recall that for green stormwater infrastructure, we had identified 8 categories of infrastructure, from green roofs, rain gardens, tree trenches, etc. And we wanted to have put at least one sign somewhere in the city, dispersed around the city, of each type of infrastructure. So people can get comfortable and familiar with them and learn a little bit about why it's there, why it looks a little different maybe than some of the other city features along the sidewalks and along the parks. And So we'd all worked on the first one to give him a sort of a style map and pick the fonts and the text and sort of how they'd be set up. And he went ahead and did first drafts of the other 7. We did tree trenches first because we have a tree trench that Anne was involved, actually designed at Mimos, who wanted to have a sign. And we're going to do a green roof at Doubletree and a rain garden somewhere. And we thought we were going to have one already in, but we may have one in soon. So at any rate, he sent them out. So everybody should have had a chance to look at them. If not, look at them soon. See if there's any changes you want to either to the design, the clarity, or the language explaining it. The other thing related that you got was text from me it could be for the signs. I mean, it could be some of that language could be put on the signs if you don't like language that is currently on that Dean came up with looking at the Philadelphia Water Department's signage and graphics from their website and which is in the public domain. So if there are changes you want, but you got text that was really designed to be for our website, so that on our website we talked about we reduce the number of buttons, but one of them would be green infrastructure. And when you push that button, something needs to come up, and Mitch needs to have us, the webmaster needs to have us provide that. So I provided what would come up there about green infrastructure, and then it would name the 8 categories. And there would be links that we then could go to each of the types of green infrastructure. And then I had some proposed draft language for each of those. So if you haven't had a chance to look, did I send that to you, Shelley, or did I attempt to send it out myself?
I think you sent that out. If people haven't gotten it, I can forward it again.
Could you forward it? I haven't seen the language part. I saw the signs. Was
Okay.
it included with the signs?
No, it was separate because
Okay,
Dean sent me, so I sent that on, and then I wrote the text for the other, and
okay,
he didn't have my text when he did that because we miscommunicated apparently.
okay. And then I've been tasked with doing a spreadsheet, which I haven't done okay.
Yep.
And that we can connect with the pictures Dean
Right.
came up with. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And we'll still have to pick some pictures if we don't have
The
we
signage.
hope to have the picture of someplace in the city, but where we don't, we can have some examples from somewhere else.
Right. Well, I thought we were going to use the signs as examples.
Oh, that's right. We were. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so-
gave us examples where we don't. Yeah.
Right. And so there'd be just more explanation associated with the sign.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Shelley. And Carly, we cannot hear you, even though you're unmuted. That's weird. No, we can see that you're talking. Okay. Take a moment and then we'll make sure you're able to chat. Kathy,
Yes.
to read the signs, number 1, they looked really cool, but I didn't get to. Go ahead,
Okay.
Carly. You want to
Okay, I had my other monitor on and it messed up my sound. But okay, so I made some Excel spreadsheet quite a while ago with the green infrastructure information that we had. And then I put the ones that we had the descriptions on. Do you want me to just send it to you to see if it starts like where you
Oh
need
yeah, maybe you could send that to me and I
Maybe
could
it'll happen.
I could add my 2 cents to it.
Yeah, let me
Okay.
see.
Because that's what Bill, I think that's what Bill had worked from.
Yeah, I think I added to it. Yeah, I think that's
Yes.
something I added to, and I don't know
That
if
would be better to not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, okay. I'll find it and forward it to the group.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you. That's all. I just thought, wait, I hear spreadsheet and
Thanks, Carly. Yeah, that's really helpful.
Thank you guys.
Thanks. So that list, the beautiful list of all the signs was so cool. I'm excited to look at it and really go in and like comb through. We should send any comments or questions or edits to you, Kathy, correct?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I've been
It
sort
will
of
funnel through you.
having this as the yeah.
So
And I've been
I copied Dean the last time
Right.
and I
Yeah,
sent
that's
it.
not a bad
So-
idea. You can do that.
So when you do, copy Dean, because
Okay, I guess. the
And
only
that's
thing-
fine. I'll get with him. The reason we miscued on that was Bethany, at the last meeting where we discussed this, Bethany was expecting to see him because she has him on contract for something else for the city. And so she was going to exchange things and that meeting got canceled. And so that fell through the cracks. So he just sent it to me and said, I didn't hear anything. So I just, here they
Okay.
are.
I mean, it's fine. It's cool. It's nice that he's working
So
on
I'll
it.
just get back to him and say that everybody's looking at it and is excited to have them. And when's the green infrastructure meeting? Is there
The
one coming
first,
up?
it's Monday, yeah, April 1st. I guess my concern was, I know that we only get like one edit this time around, right?
Right,
So I don't want him getting different emails and then he makes the change.
exactly. Yeah.
So perhaps funneling through you or something, or having a deadline, some type of organization, so he knows that when we submit it, that's our edits.
Why don't we plan to submit, and this will give us all a deadline,
Mhm.
after the green infrastructure meeting. So that's on the 1st, right?
Yeah,
And then, so you have to the 2nd.
well, I would, if we're gonna funnel through Kathy, it might be a good idea to make our edits and talk about it on April 1st.
Well, that's what I was thinking. We'd have time.
Oh, okay, that's
You
what
have an
you meant.
opportunity to talk then.
Okay,
collaborate.
but send your edits first so we can talk about
People
them.
can look at it. Yeah, good idea.
okay, that sounds good. So
That
on
gives
the,
us almost a week and it's a
Right.
little tight. We can always, just everybody should try so we can have a good conversation like Ann suggested at the green infrastructure meeting, so we can react to people's ideas. And then if we need more time, we can certainly take more time, but I'll tell Dean that's what we're doing and that he should hold off, thank you and hold off a
Okay.
bit till we come back with some coordinated responses.
that sounds great. So
Okay.
if anybody, I don't know if everybody received those signs. If you didn't and you would like to look at them and provide feedback, send Kathy or I or Shelley a message. Any feedback that you have, please collect it and have it ready for the 1st, for the GSI meeting, which is at, I think, what is it, 11 o'clock, Shelley? Is that correct? Or is it 10?
I honestly forgot it was Monday, so I'll have to go back and look at the last set of minutes if you give me a second.
That's fine. I think it's 12 noon. Anyway, have your things ready. Come prepared to talk about this. This will be our main agenda item. If you're not able to attend the GSI meeting on Monday, April 1st, please send your written comments or concerns or questions, whatever, to, you can send them to me. Copy Kathy, either person, it'll get to the right place. And then we'll make sure it's sent over to the sign designer by the 2nd. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that was a really good point about one edit.
Yes, because I don't want him to make changes and then we find something big. Go ahead,
Right, yeah.
Shelley.
Confirming
think-
it is Monday at noon.
Perfect. Monday, April
Okay.
1st at noon. And if you need that link, let us know. Everybody should have it
Yeah.
from Shelley.
Bethany had climate
Send it yet.
initiative training. But I think that's the educators training, right, on Monday at 9. Because it was going to be either Good Friday or Monday, and I got a message that it was Monday and signed up for that, 9 to 1.
What train? That's not the educator's training is at the end of April.
Oh, the end of April. I bet I put it, never mind.
That
Yeah,
one's on the
that's April
29th.
29th.
She's got a
It's
bunch
April
of other stuff. too.
Okay, never mind. It's
Thanks
an,
for checking that out, though.
it's an old message. It must, it was when she was originally gonna do it. And then she had to
Right,
postpone
right.
it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Get rid of
great.
these.
Moving forward, we have the technical assistants. I've connected them directly with Bethany, so she can give an update on that agenda item in our April meeting, Shelley.
I'll be able to say a couple. We talked about our communications committee too. What's going on? You're talking about the U of Penn stuff.
Yeah, okay,
We can talk about when I do the report. I'll mention what's going on with them.
wonderful. Thanks, Bill. That sounds great. Then we have the annual report to city council. I think last we talked about Kathy having a draft.
Yeah, Kathy's slow.
That's fine.
Soon, it's halfway done.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, send it over when you're ready.
will.
And then we have the Berks County EAC mixer, David Bean.
Yeah, so EAC mixer, Berks Nature is interested once again in convening all of the county EACs for a meet and greet, sharing of ideas. I think they're looking to try to schedule something maybe very late spring, early summer. And this request actually we got an inquiry recently from, I want to say it's Tulpehocken EAC, one of our sister EACs. That was interested in running some ideas off us, and obviously, we'll provide whatever support we can. But the thought was, and I reached out to Kim Murphy over at Berks Nature, hey, it's been a while. It looks like there's some interest in getting together again as EACs to share information. Would Berks Nature be willing to host like you've done in the past? They've done some, dinner events, nothing real fancy, but they've hosted these events in the past, and they are interested in doing it again. So I'm on top of them for that, and I'll share information as it becomes available, but I know they're actively working on trying to schedule something late spring or very early summer.
Thank you, David. I really look forward to that. I've always wanted to meet the other EACs in the county.
Yeah,
Sir?
some people from Kutztown are very interested in doing it too. They were reaching out to us, and one other local one that I forgot whether it was Shillington or I don't know. At any rate, it'd be exciting.
Oh, here it is. Okay. I was gonna say, I just read the minutes. See, Shelley, I read the minutes. In last month's minutes, it does say Berks Nature Luncheon for county EACs on June 6th.
So that's going to be something different. Berks Nature is in the process of revising some of its outreach. And that luncheon meeting is going to be an opportunity for Berks Nature to share with all of the EACs what Berks Nature is doing and how they can assist. I think what they're looking at by way of a meet and greet is something more along the lines of an evening meeting, maybe not as formal as this particular presentation that they're talking about for June the 6th. So they're going to be two different events. What you see for June the 6th is not what we're talking about here.
Thank you so much for that clarification, David. All right, so the mixer will be like an actual get together for EACs. This is a Berks Nature presentation to EACs.
With
Correct.
a DJ, right?
On June 6th. Sorry, Bill?
With a DJ.
Pretty
For the mixer. Okay, thank you. That really helps. And then is there anything else you want to add, David, before we move on to new business?
No, that's fine.
Thank you. First up, we have the Berks Nature public meetings, more Berks Nature. So they sent out a flyer with those meetings. Were you gonna fill us in, Shelley?
No, I was just gonna say probably the same thing as you, that they have that whole long list, so.
So I guess that they were asking us to attend whenever was really, whenever we're available. I don't think there was anything like formal, but they have a really long list throughout the coming months at different locations and on Zoom. And I think it would be a good idea. I looked at my calendar a couple times. I'll have to really confirm a date. But does anybody like, is anybody definitely doing it? Or is anybody like, what are you talking about? I didn't even see this list.
I saw the list. I took note that except for the meetings that are happening at Berks Nature, not one of them is in the city. And, I'm kind of wrestling with that. I think it's, you know, it's indicative of something that sticks in my craw a little bit. So
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
all over the county, every little nook and cranny of the county. Anyway,
But not in the city proper,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, Rose says, well, Berks Nature's in the city, but it's
Kind of, sort of.
it could've-
Right.
I don't know. They could have had one in Public Works. I just, anyway. That's my observation.
Do you think it would be appropriate and like a desire of the EAC for me to reach out to Berks Nature and just ask if they plan to host something in the city?
Yeah, I
Maybe
really think you should.
Yeah.
I've been
They
troubled by this.
probably, oh, sorry.
I've been troubled by this for a while. You know, the kids' programs are almost exclusive. You see any of the pictures, it's all white kids, from suburb, you know, wealthy white kids mostly. I mean, it's obviously so. And they've been making a lot of noise about how they're getting more diverse because they hired one or two people. But in a very nice way, I think we can help them if they're serious about that. They need to, for instance, this is the way they always do stuff. And then they wonder why they're talking with the same people and all those people think they're wonderful and they're all talking the same language. And we're not expanding the understanding of how we can live together in a better environment. So, yeah, I would love you to just reach out in a nice way. Not the way I just did, but
No.
No, Kathy, I think what you said was very constructive. I have not reached out because I'm almost certain it wouldn't be in a nice way.
Yeah.
But I think you're much more articulated about it than I am, and it's not about us. It's about what's better for the community as a whole.
I will say that I've been to events at Berks Nature where city schools were invited, like Aquapalooza, and it was almost all city schools at that one. So like they like in their defense, they are reaching out in different areas to school kids.
It's true. It seems like with the organized like classrooms, they try to get them over there, but for community events, it might not be really reaching the entire city of Reading. So I think there's two actions here. Number one, I will email and say, we would love to support you having a meeting in the city of Reading. But action item number two is that we can't force them to do what we want necessarily.
No,
of course not.
Express these concerns.
And they may think by default they are in the city of Reading, you know, like their facility is in Reading.
They are in the city and they believe, I mean, that was the argument for that location, that it is in the city.
So I think part
So
two
was the
is
location
really
in City Park.
we go to these meetings where they are when we're available as members of the EAC, as City of Reading residents, and express these concerns.
So
that we're
Sarah,
saying
as the
here
chair,
to
I
them.
think, you know, I think kind of putting together what Kathy just said, you know, I don't know, maybe we suggest that, I mean, one of the things about the meetings, it's people coming to them rather than them going to folks also. So that's self-selecting, right? You know, maybe we could facilitate, maybe they would want to come to the EAC to one of our meetings and have a conversation as part of the agenda or something like that. I don't know, but I'm not sure what I'm suggesting there. This is their show, and they have these, you know, to their credit, they're having a ton of them.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who wants to talk to them should be able to find a time to go talk to them. But I think Kathy, she put the nail on the head. They wonder why they keep getting the same voices. Well, who knows about it? Number one, and who, you know, who's going to be inclined to go even to Berks Nature, even though it's in the city. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
probably not
very
an issue to
intimidating.
get there.
It looks like it's part of the Alvernia campus, and campuses are intimidating to people who haven't been to college. And yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Berks Nature, and they do some things extraordinarily well. But on this issue, they're behind. And we're fairly big donors. We get to go to a lot of meetings at Berks Nature. So but you know, they need to fix this. They really do.
I like your point, Bill, and that's good feedback to maybe ask if they would be open to going to people's meetings that already exist.
You know, I don't want to belabor this discussion, but just a little bit of history and background. I was on the board, all told, probably about 15 years. I think when I joined the board, there may have been, out of a board of 15 or 20 people, there may have been 5, 6, 7, 8 city residents. By the time I left the board, I was the only city resident. I'm not sure there's a city resident on the board now. And I can say that it was an ongoing discussion. The whole issue, if you want to preserve open space and the beauty of the nature in the county, you need to pay attention to the developed and built up areas. And, you know, I mean, I think they've focused on the other side of the equation, but on the side of the best way to stop sprawl is to invest in the city. I mean, that's oversimplifying it. I think they've really dropped the ball, and they don't really even articulate that anymore. So there's a long history of back and forth on this, and I don't know. I mean, personally, I've kind of given up, but I think you know, stating what we've just talked about has some value, and it's definitely part of our, you know, our mission to. I mean, all of that has to do with improving the, you know, dealing with climate change. I mean, the more you sprawl all over the county, the more you're fighting it. So anyway, I don't want to start preaching, but there's a lot of history to these kinds of decisions. Kathy, I think, said it better than I did, but, and you know, and I'm still a supporter also. I mean, I think the work they do is great, but there's a missing piece. And unfortunately, there is no other nonprofit in the county that is playing that role. I mean, and then
No, and they're
to be the likely candidate.
And because they're so good, they get better and better funded, and they're the main game, and they're very good and very professional and all that, but they need to expand the scope.
Okay, thank you. This was a good conversation. I'll definitely reach out to them with our comments. And like I said, if you can go to one of those meetings, I think that's a good idea. If you want to let the EAC know when you're going and see if multiple people can go at once, I can look at the calendar and let you all know what works for me too. Thanks, Shelley, for answering Carly in the chat. Just to continue moving on, I have a hard stop at 1:30, friends. So the EPA Exide cleanup update. Does anybody have any updates for that? I wish I could have gone to those meetings. David?
Yeah, so I went to the meeting out at the Muhlenberg Junior High School. It was not well attended. Basically just some community folks from around Bernhardt's. But the properties within a 1 mile radius of the old Exide facility are now on the national priorities list. So that means they're in the Superfund program. And work is now going to commence to start sampling all properties within that 1 mile radius. They're currently in the process of pulling bid packets together for the contractors that will do the sampling. They expect to award those contracts this summer, with sampling to start hopefully fall of this year, early 2025 at the latest. We're probably looking at least a 3-year period of sampling before EPA will pull together a recommended remedial plan for the properties within that radius, with remediation then to follow. So, I mean, I think we're looking at, you know, at least 5 years out before, you know, Bernhardt's would have any work done. Clearly, Bernhardt's Dam is on their list of properties that will be sampled. And they will be working very closely with the city in terms of, you know, developing, you know, what a remediation plan is going to look like for the park. Bethany was there. She clearly has already had conversations with EPA's team that's going to be responsible for all of this work. So she and I will continue to monitor this going forward. Reverend Morris was there. She did raise some concerns about, health risks, posed by all of this, and, wanted EPA to, do blood sampling as part of its work, which it is not going to do, because it can't. It's not set up to do that. But EPA is working very closely with the Department of Health, and they're hoping to have opportunities for blood testing available at some point in the future. So stay tuned. We're off to a good start. Unfortunately, the work that was done 15 years ago needs to be readdressed. But that's because the standards have changed. CDC's thinking about what lead levels are safe has changed. Basically it's now 0. If you've got any lead in soil, it potentially poses a health risk to children and to adults. But as part of this project, once the sampling results are obtained, EPA will then be performing a risk assessment for all of these properties, given their current use and their intended reuse, to figure out what the remediation plans will be for each of these properties, and they will differ from property to property. So stay tuned.
Yeah, 2 things just want to highlight that the city raised, and we made formal comments, and as an EAC, and this, I think the city made comments. If not, they provided comments. But key things that are involved we also asked that they look carefully downstream of the dam, because there's evidence, and we know we have, if Scott was still here, so we know we have lots of stormwater flooding downstream, and are concerned that stuff may have traveled technically outside where they drew the original line. And they said they were willing to look at that. So hopefully that's still the case. Have you heard anything, Scott, on that?
Sorry, I got caught up on a phone call. What dam were you talking about?
Bernhardt.
Okay,
Bernhardt
so
and the Superfund site, and that we asked to make sure that they not only looked at that perimeter arbitrary mile around, but also downstream on the outflow from Bernhardt Dam.
So we've got a lot of issues actually in that line. I mean, where it goes underground, we still have that hole open behind Delta Avenue.
Right.
That's something I mean, it's being worked on, but it's above us. The other side of it is like we have some major cleaning to do right at where the stream goes underground. It's a hard area to get equipment in. So we may need to actually go to the state road side and clean up a little bit that way, but that's always on our storm hotspot list. So we usually get to it at least a couple times a month. I mean, definitely, if not just having eyes on it, we actually have to clean a lot of sticks, debris, and now we actually have a lot of erosion and sediment in there right now. The other side of it is part of where the pipe actually damaged and broke. Downstream from that a little bit farther, there's so the piping kind of shifted, became a little more oblong, and we're kind of worried about that too, which is kind of the holdup on the whole project of the piping. So back when they installed that, it was just a corrugated, and some people say that they had looked into the concrete pipe, and that would obviously last a little bit longer, and that could be part of the issue why we're having it now. So
yeah, so I was just raising it in connection with our comments about the cleanup and the scope of the cleanup that the Superfund team should include taking a good look there downstream, because we know there have been stormwater issues over time, and things could have moved if they find stuff.
it's definitely in there.
And the other thing that we raised at the first meeting, and Bethany's had some conversations since, is that especially with it being several municipalities, we were seriously considering putting together a community advisory committee. I can't, is it a committee or a
community advisory group. So that's
group?
actually
That's what it is.
a good part of the meeting discussed just what a community advisory group is and how we go about forming one. EPA actually asked people who were there, are you interested in serving? They are going to be facilitating pulling a group together. There is some interest. They did share that it's a very labor-intensive process for anyone who wants to volunteer. It will require a lot of time. So, they just want people to be aware of that because there are a lot of meetings scheduled, and you basically form your own group, identify what your concerns are, and then work on, getting those concerns out to the community and getting feedback from the community. But that process is moving forward. I would suggest, Kathy, if you or anyone else on the EAC is interested in serving on that committee, simply go on EPA's website under the Exide cleanup, and all of the contact information in terms of their community outreach folks is on the website. Simply email them and let them know that you were unable to attend the meeting last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever, but you're interested in serving on the community advisory group. Here's my contact information. Please reach out to me when you have information to share.
Thanks, David, because that was a concern. We said we thought we were interested in the first place. I will do that. One of the things that happens that's important is if you have a community advisory group, they assign a technical consultant to come and meet with you and explain the reports as they come in ordinary language for regular people. I would want to be on it just because, not like David does, but I do speak Superfund speak from past lives. So I basically understand the process already and know what it's called, and all the jargon is vaguely familiar at least. So I think I could be helpful. So I will reach out and try and do that. Thank you. It's very helpful.
And you would be very helpful, Kathy, with respect to Bernhardt's Dam, because I continue to hear the comments were raised at the public meeting about, why isn't the dam, they tried to get this off topic, why isn't the dam being rebuilt?
Oh, no.
They don't realize that's not what the process is about. It's about remediating those areas of Bernhardt's that need additional attention. This is not about rebuilding the dam. And Bethany stepped up at the meeting and explained why this is not part of the process, but it went in one ear and right out the other. I could tell they didn't hear a word that she said.
Yeah.
So it'll keep coming up.
It will.
Thank you so much, David and Kathy. David, that was such a thorough, clear, understandable explanation. Thank you. And Kathy, yeah, I think it would be so wonderful if you are participating in that and able to provide feedback. That's really critical. Let us know if we can support as the committee.
Oh, absolutely. I would expect help.
Yeah. Yeah.
But since I don't have to be chair anymore, a little more time.
So just like, I don't know if you can do this in just a few short words, but could you explain Act 2? Is that easy to explain?
So Act 2 is not part of, Act 2 is not part of the remediation that's going to occur in the 1 mile radius around the former Exide facility. Act 2, for those of you who may not know, is the Pennsylvania State Voluntary Cleanup Program that you can elect to go through as a property owner or someone who's interested in acquiring property that's contaminated. If you want a release of liability in connection with that cleanup work, you voluntarily enter this program, and this program has attached to it, a whole bunch of standards and cleanup standards with respect to the various constituents that you're attempting to clean up in soil or groundwater. The Exide facility itself, so it's not part of the Superfund cleanup work, but there are developers apparently who are seriously interested in that property who are going to be taking the Exide site through the Act 2 program. So there was a lot of emergency cleanup work that EPA has done in the last year or two at the former Exide facility to stabilize what's there. But there's some additional work that needs to be done to get a release of liability for that site. And that's going to be run through the state program, not the federal Superfund program. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and the state program is Act 2. Is that right?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
You think of it as land recycling. So, and the two are connected at the hip because Superfund creates liability forever for anyone who owns the property, even if they had nothing to do with the contamination that's there. If you buy the property, you win the Superfund liability. So guess what? Nobody would ever buy or use Exide again if that were the case. You'd be crazy to, because you would become liable for all the cleanup that still needs to be done or that had needed to be done. So the state, so what was happening is like the whole corridor south of Pittsburgh was being mothballed, the steel mills and the smelters and everything were being, and they were going out into the farmland, green fields, to build new facilities and leave all that mess there. So the state said, okay, half a cleanup is better than no cleanup. And they created Act 2, so that if you come in and you buy a property and you fix it up and make some of it better, you can get releases for that and you wouldn't be held responsible unless you add to the problem. So that was the concept. I was around when we did that. It was in the 80s in response to Superfund being wonderful, but such a large hammer that it was really creating a problem with future chain of ownership of blighted properties. So you can see it here very well because they've made Exide a brownfield site that can be fixed up and used again. And they're using the Superfund money to clean up the area around it that was harmed, that there's really nobody responsible to deal with it. So that's what the Superfund money is for.
So Exide's not responsible for the surrounding area, even though they cause the pollution?
They
Well,
were, but they went bankrupt and they
they're back.
gave up.
They're
David,
gone.
go ahead,
They're-
David, you know more.
Yeah, they went through bankruptcy. They got a discharge in bankruptcy. They're gone. As part of that bankruptcy, they set money aside for all of their properties nationwide. That money was not enough from the day that trust was funded. So that's why the Superfund program has stepped in, because there's no longer a responsible party with resources to fund the additional work that's going to happen. Reverend Morris actually spent a lot of time at the meeting asking if EPA has plans to go after Exide outside of this country to recover money that they should still be allocating towards this cleanup. That's not what this process is about. This is about using Superfund dollars currently to effectuate a cleanup of these neighboring properties. That's not to say that EPA, in conjunction with the Attorney General's office, might have a conversation about attempting to pursue Exide assets overseas to the extent they still exist, but they're bankrupt, they're gone, so that's why they're no longer at the table, Ann.
So who actually owns the property?
The trust.
The trust.
The Exide trust that was established as part of the bankruptcy, they effectively took all of their contaminated properties and titled them in the name of the trust.
Interesting. Thank you for that explanation. That was really clear. That's the clearest explanation I've heard of Act 2.
Yeah, I think we all learned today. Thank you both. Okay, good. All right, keep us posted. Next we have the Rainbow Workshop, but we already talked about that, so we're all cool. And then project updates. So we have the Communications Committee update, Bill.
Well, so the couple of things that are interrelated. Bethany has been doing a series of presentations on the Climate Action Plan, and so and Jasmine has been working on reworking that, improving improving how it, the PowerPoint looks, the focus of the content, the information, so it's tighter and sharper. And so we had a combination training review a week and a half or so ago, and the entire committee was there. And I think it was a really good session. Bethany ran through the PowerPoint. We gave comments. I think all of us in the process learned. The intent is that we will then be able to go out and do it in addition to Bethany, so she's not lumbered with doing these presentations. And it is focused on the climate action plan, but it's on, you know, just the whole kind of environmental issues in general. And two people from Barrio Alegria came, Anthony and a woman, Luisa, who happens to be trained as a journalist and worked as a journalist. She's from the Dominican Republic. She's been in the country, I forget how long, maybe 3 years. Her English is very limited. Her Spanish is really good. And I think we were all impressed with her, in spite of the fact that the whole session was in English. She was asking good questions. Anthony was translating for her pretty much constantly. And just to refresh your memory, we've had conversations with Barrio about identifying someone from there who could sort of be the on-the-ground outreach and engagement person. And we started on that about a year ago or 6 months ago, whenever, and that sort of crashed. But she's interested. We have decided that we're interested. And so the next step is Bethany and Anthony and I are going to communicate and firm up some proposal as to what that arrangement's going to be. We have, you know, we've allocated funds. Bethany has some funds. There's just some question about what the best arrangement's going to be, both from the standpoint of the city and from Barrio in terms of their liabilities and stuff like that. But I think that's going to happen. I think it's just a matter of crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And then we will have a person on board who's Spanish speaking to carry on with this work, not only doing the presentations, but doing outreach, door to door, other workshops, whatever. You know, it's all to be defined, online, stuff like that. Stephen is scheduled to do the presentation to NAACP on the 15th of April. And so that's the one we have scheduled. I anticipate there will be others that will be coming. That's the one item. The website, we've been working on, and this is related to the green infrastructure information on the map and general information about the EAC and the other issues, the climate action plan. Jasmine has been with Kathy and Bethany been tightening up how this information is going to be on the website, how it's going to be accessed. I don't know, there were like 29 tabs before. I don't know, it's been reduced to a third of that or less. And so the mechanics, and that's really in good shape, I think. And we're continuing to refine the information, including the green infrastructure sites, what they're going to be. Kathy's wording will be used to so when somebody goes to the map, they can click on the tree trench at Mimos, and an image will come up, and a description of the tree trench will come up too, and that content's being put together. And I think the important thing is that, Kathy and Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, Mitch, the webmaster, has said he just needs us to get stuff to him and he can put it on the website, and he's willing to do that. He's happy to do that. We just have to form the content and get it to him. So he doesn't have to figure out what it is or manipulate it, but he just gets it on there. The University of Penn, what is it? Water something?
Water Center.
Water Center. According to Bethany, they, as part of their engagement, are going to take that list we have that is depending on how many sites we're gonna put on, anywhere from 15 to 50. And by all means, look at that and add anything you know of throughout the city that you think should go on the map. They're going to work with Mitch to get those locations on the map, and it'll be Google Maps, not GIS, as Mitch has advised us that it's just way too complicated to use GIS to cite this stuff. Google Maps, it's really straightforward. But as kind of going back to something somebody said earlier, we just want to make sure everything is funneled to either somebody on the EAC and then to Mitch, so that he's not getting stuff from 5 different locations.
You mean through the communications committee or through EAC?
Well, whatever, through the communications.
Well, I just wanted,
Yeah.
because I mean, there's 7 people. You don't.
Yeah, no, yes, but and I think Kathy has said for the time being she would be the interface with Mitch, since she's been communicating with them. I should mention that Carly has put together a scavenger hunt for Earth Day. I don't know if she wants to say something about that. And I think, the other stuff, Jasmine is, she's just been, that was such a great move. I mean, she really panned out as an intern. She's been taking a lot of the burden off Bethany, off us. We have an idea of stuff that needs to be done. We put it in her lap. She turns it around, gets back to us with stuff that's accomplished, including, a number of brochures that have now been produced.
Yeah. One thing, can I add real quick? Well, Bethany and I are going to get together again before the 15th, because we kind of had like a big overview of the presentation. What we'd like to do is get some feedback from each of these community groups that we talk to, so we have sort of a focus on what they want to hear us talk about regarding time and action plan and all that. So I'll be reaching out to the NAACP just to say, hey, look, if you have anything specific topics that you want to talk about, and then we'll refine it. That's the nice thing about this, is that we can, include slides, take slides out or whatever. So it's a flexible, sorry about that. It's a flexible thing to do. So I think that's going to be one of the nice things about this, is that we can sort of tailor it to our audience. And it's going to be available for everybody else that's on this this Zoom call. And the other thing about that is that if we do have a more refined website, we can include that as part of the presentation, so people in the community can then be taught where to go to for certain things. That'll be a real plus, that we can add to the program if it's not ready for the 15th. At our committee meeting, first of all, Stephen, a few of us are willing to sit through a dry run of the presentation if you want to do that. And we stipulate we keep our mouths shut, but if you just wanted to run through it once. You said that with a serious face, Bill?
I told him if we volunteered, we would have to do that. We have to bring the masking, the duct tape, and do it. Well, the bonus about that is that Bethany will be there to lend plenty of support, so I will not feel lost. So. I'm trying to be. I plan to be there too, Steve. Now the other thing Jasmine suggested that I think we all thought was a good idea is to find a short, like a 3 to 5 minute video that sort of talks about these issues as an introduction before the presentation starts, as a way to just get people warmed up. And she did share with the committee, I don't know if she shared it with everyone, it's a 7-minute TED Talk that I can't remember the guy's name. I didn't know who he was, but he talked about how we should talk about this. And it's the kinds of things we should focus on and not in the language we should be using it. I don't know if that went to everyone, but I'll forward it to the rest of the EAC if she only sent it to the committee. I looked at it. It's really good. It's worth 7 minutes. It's for the most part, we already know it, but as she said, it's a refresher of
how we talk about these issues, the terminology we use. I think the stuff that Kathy wrote up that she talked about earlier, I think she wrote it in a way that's very understandable and accessible. So
Could you send that, Bill?
yeah, I will. When I'm done, I'll send it.
Okay.
Or when we're
I'd like
done.
to see it. Yeah.
And that sort of
Well,
goes along with what Stephen said, that the way that right now there's maybe as many as 50 slides you can choose from, depending upon how long. But it goes from there are very academic slides with graphs that with all kinds of cool information on all axes. That if you're talking to a bunch of college kids or something like that. But then she's worked on getting just graphics of a storm, and then some language about what's changed and what's changing and what's coming. That could be for 6th grade kids, they would get it. So you can pick and choose, as Stephen said, like how deep you want to get into different topics, and just go into some topics in depth, and others where you just put a graphic or picture up just to have mentioned it and to give people a more comprehensive sense. So we're excited about it because it'll let us be better teachers.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to come across as if we're just downloading everything to everyone. That's the whole idea about, soliciting topics beforehand, if possible. Because people will shut down immediately if you're just beating them over the head with facts. That's
Right, and there's an interactive piece that we like, so because we want to send the message we're listening. We want to talk enough so that they can tell us what they think about the subject, but we want to mostly listen and get feedback about what they're concerned about and what they'd like to know more about.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate the communications committee. You get so much stuff done. I just want to alert, we have 10 minutes left. So if there's anything.
Sarah, just one quick thing. Shelley, have we received an acknowledgement or anything from the managing director of the administration about the letter about expanding the educator position? Has there been any response to that?
The only response was that it was received.
Okay.
I've not heard anything since then.
Thank you. Under project updates, is there any other updates? I guess the policy committee, just the green infrastructure committee. We don't have anything. We'll do it in April after our meeting. But David, did you want to give a quick update from the policy committee?
Yeah, so policy, I think we now have circulated a final draft of, I'll let Shelley chime in if I'm not correct here, but I think a final draft of the beekeeping ordinance has now been circulated. We had a meeting this month. So, we're now ready for, next steps in terms of, a formal, county planning commission review. And there's some, internal reviews that are going to have to happen from the city's perspective. So having effectively wrapped up that project that we've been working on, we've now committed to kind of regroup on the Shade Tree Commission project that we took on. And I've reached out to Larry Lloyd at Berks Nature, who hooked me up with our regional DCNR representative on this issue. I actually just heard back from him this morning, and he is going to try to coordinate a meeting. What we're interested in doing, we don't want to reinvent the wheel here. So we want to speak with some neighboring municipalities who have gone through this before in, kind of clawing back responsibility for shade tree maintenance in along the rights of way. Because it's now clear that the model that the city is currently operating under, which is that responsibility rests with the homeowner, while that may have been a great model in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, when most of these properties were single family, owned, that's no longer the case, with a lot of, out of state owners and these properties being mostly rental. So there are some municipalities in the county that have very effectively transitioned into a model where the municipality assumes that responsibility. And we want to do our due diligence and talk to them about their experiences before we kind of launch ahead. I mean, it's clear we need to do this, but we're looking for some guidance. And Larry Lloyd at Berks Nature is already aware of this issue, and he's looking to work cooperatively with us as well. We now have DCNR on board, and the city arborist is going to be a part of this process also. So hopefully we'll be getting a meeting scheduled within the next couple weeks, with some partners who may be able to help us as we move forward. But that will be the next big project that the policy committee takes on.
That's really exciting. Thanks, David. I'm so happy to hear that you're going to connect with people who have figured this out, or at least have moved forward with it.
Yeah,
I think that's really wise.
before we lose all our
Yeah.
So what, do you know
Larry
the
has-
communities that have good examples? I'm sorry.
Why missing?
That's what I thought.
I thought West Reading was on the list, but DCNR says no. He said why missing is really the one that you want to talk to. Larry apparently has told Bethany that there is a 10,000 tree deficit in the city of Reading.
That's what she told us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, from
If-
what the standard is that we should have for an adequate urban environment.
yes.
Yeah.
We only need 10,000 more healthy trees growing in the streets of Reading.
And it's really timely too, because there's so much US forest money right now
Is there? I didn't know
for
that.
urban tree plantings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Good to know.
There's huge grants for urban tree
Oh, that
plantings.
is really good.
But
to
of
know.
course you want to do it as well.
Well, and
So
even the Department of Agriculture, the US Department of Agriculture has totally changed in the last 5 years. I've been working with them on the county basis and stuff. That's what they just let there be a merger between the Berks County Traditional Agricultural Farm Group, Barn, and the Urban Ag Task Force that Lucine helped form, Lucine Sahelnick. And so, it's really the ideal moment to be trying to do this because it's a new priority, both for forestry and for agriculture and on the county as well as the state and federal levels. So we need to jump in and have this difficult discussion.
yeah.
And get it moving.
Thanks, everybody. Cool. I look forward to learning more and supporting that. And maybe getting a grant to plant some trees. Project updates. Is there anything else in this list that we have to cover before we adjourn our meeting today? Rain garden installations. I'm not seeing anything that's really pressing. Kathy mentioned with the urban agriculture that they did merge. Is there anything that anybody wants to really raise and discuss?
I'll just do a quick update. The something that's been on long-term projects, which is it has my name behind it, the code review committee. We weren't moving on it because we're waiting for the city ordinance, for the city to adopt the latest version of IBC. Anyway, Bethany mentioned, the name escapes me of the foundation, but there's some grant money that a grant that's going to be, I think, going to be coming, and this entity is going to update the ordinances relative to sustainability. I don't know, Kathy, do you recall the name? Hailstone.
Yeah, I think they're the consultant that's working with the local community action plan program at DEP. So their consultant will work with each of the cities that got in on the ground floor to be model city for the development of local community action plans. And so they're going to go through the ordinances to suggest model language to get rid of some of the impediments to more sustainable and resilient practices.
That's really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Wow, awesome.
Real hard to get to.
Yeah.
It'll be much better saying, here's a group of amendments that, the state and, federal and other counties are starting to use to improve resiliency in the face of climate change. So rather than it just being us going through the ordinances and saying, well, this sounds like it's probably a problem and creates barriers to putting in rain gardens, so let's not do it. Yeah, it'd be a lot better to have.
So where is this?
Bethany can give a better report, but she let us know, and because Bill was charged with trying to get that started, looking for things in our ordinances that are in the way. Or an example I would think of is, curb cuts. You need to be allowed to make curb cuts and not put in curbs in places so you can have swales take some of the water and not put it into the gutters. And, our ordinances are going to demand that people have nice, even curbs that don't have cuts in them. So you get rid of that because you want to be able to put in green stormwater infrastructure solutions. So they're it's hailstorm?
Hailstones.
Hailstones is the consultant for the sustainability, for the local climate action plan program that DEP has been running. And it's their consultant. They met with us. They met with the city, and I was invited. Bill, you were there at that meeting, right?
I don't think so, because I didn't recognize the name when she said it the other day.
Okay. Well, I was invited to a meeting where they were there and were explaining some of the things that they were doing.
Was it the one at Berks Nature?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No, it was at Public Works.
Hopefully, in April, we can hear
Oh,
more.
the
from
DOT
Bethany.
people.
Yeah. So
That was not Hailstone. That was what was it? That was a different group. That was
it?
I think Wilson or some name like that. It was.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
They were different.
I think
folks
I didn't.
Other work.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was that.
I don't think. I think you're right, and I think Bethany's just talked about it, but I didn't actually meet them.
I think this is
So
something.
does Hailstone have a draft already or not?
No.
I think
Okay.
this was kind of at the end of our meeting. She had to run. She just brought that up to let us know that this is in the works, but happening, not just. I don't think it's just pie in the sky.
Shelley just wrote in the chat too that
Oh,
Shannon.
that's why. That's how. Yes, thank you. I'm not going crazy. Thank you, Shelley. I knew I met someone from Hailstone. She's very good.
Wonderful.
She did a really good job at polishing up the beekeeping ordinance.
That's great.
Really good.
Great. Is there any other updates before we adjourn our call for this month? All right.
Great
No,
job, Sarah.
Sorry,
Again,
David.
keeping us on task.
Okay. So meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
All right.
All right.
Thank
I look
you.
forward to
Bye,
seeing you in
everybody.
April.
Bye.